areas of the human body. Do not try them out on anyone, as these blows can result in permanently disabling injuries, paralysis, or death. In fact, such strikes as depicted in this video can cause very serious cardiovascular or neurological problems that may not manifest themselves for several years after the blow is struck. This video is designed to encourage you to seek out competent instruction in these arts and not as a substitute for same.
Now all I've got to do is to strike downwards over the eye just here, and we'll see the difference. And we'll ask Mike what the difference was. Got his wrist here, he's shaking it.
Earl Montague was awarded the degree of Master in 1985 at the All-China National Wushu Tournament. He is one of the very few Westerners who have received such an honor. Master Montague is an international instructor in the eternal art of Tai Chi Chuan. In this video, he presents the martial side of this art, Dim Mak, or death point striking. In this video, we will locate the Dim Mak points themselves, which when struck properly, achieve remarkably devastating results. We will examine the basic hand strikes to these Dim Mak points, with special attention to the angle and direction of the strike, as well as the impacting surface to the given Dim Mak point. Next, we examine the concept of Fa Jing, the explosive animal energy essential to making Dim Mak work for self-defense. Though executed with far less than full Fa Jing power, the disabling pain and loss of motor control in this strike is obvious. Finally, small San Sao, a Dim Mak training form, is instructed. This form is designed to develop natural flow of movement and acquisition of the Dim Mak points in a continuous sequence of strikes. And now, Master Instructor Earl Montague.
Dim Mak means death point striking, literally. Dim Mak is a way of striking to the more vulnerable points on the human body. The Dim Mak points themselves are placed along what are known as the acupuncture meridians or channels in the human body, of which we have 12 main ones and 8 extra ones. The 12 main ones, however, are the meridians that we mainly work with. Dim Mak is not some magical, mystical thing where we go and touch someone on the shoulder at a certain time of the day and have them die 5 years later. It's not that. Dim Mak is physiological. It works medically sound. It's Western medicine. It can be proven through Western science. It's not this magical, mystical thing where you can knock someone over from a distance, for instance. You have to actually strike them. And in most cases, you have to use a fair amount of pressure. Some of the points require less pressure than others. Some are more sensitive than others. There are 2 separate ways that we strike to the body, and they are dictated to by what the different points do in the body. The 2 different ways are physiological points. They are the points whereby, for instance, we have a point called stomach 9, which is just across from the carotid, thyroid cartilage rather, just here underneath the sternocleidomastoid muscle, just in here. It's called stomach 9 point. However, just underneath the stomach 9 point we have a physical thing. It's called a carotid sinus. It's a barometer of your blood pressure. And in a nutshell, what happens is if your blood pressure rises, this little thing in here registers the high blood pressure. It literally causes your heart to slow down. Or, in the case of a strike to this point, it causes the heart to stop because it thinks there's so much blood pressure there that it drops it down. And because the person hasn't really got high blood pressure, the person faints or goes into knockout. That's how a knockout to this area of the throat works. And you don't have to use that much pressure. It's an extremely dangerous point. And normally, I don't do knockouts, and I'm not going to today. I'm not going to do a complete knockout because that's far too dangerous. Even light knockouts are dangerous. They can do damage in the hands of someone who doesn't know what they're doing. So today what I'll do is I'll call one of my students in and we'll do one of these light knockouts just to show you the difference between a physical knockout, that is activating through an acupuncture point, it's called stomach 9, activating the carotid sinus to slow the heart rate down so the blood pressure drops dramatically and so the person falls on the ground. These are death point strikings. They're extremely dangerous. Please don't go out and practice them on your well, maybe on your mother-in-law, but not on your sister, or not if you're a teacher watching this tape, don't go out and try them on your students straight away because you just don't know what damage you're going to do. This point in here, you can die up to 7 years later through internal carotid artery disintegration. You die of a stroke 7 years later. No one relates it back to when you were struck on the neck through some idiot striking you just because of an ego thing saying, I see how well I can do this to someone on a sitting duck. So we don't want that to happen. And I don't want to hurt my students, so I'm going to cause a partial knockout, which is as dangerous as I go, because I simply don't want to hurt anyone. At this time, I'm going to call in a very good friend of mine, Michael Babin, a student of mine and teacher. No teacher's worth his salt if he doesn't learn from his students. And Michael is the leader of the World Tai Chi Boxing Association in the whole of Canada. And he's one of my students. He's been one of my students for quite a number of years. What I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate to you, we'll just come around this way, Mike, so we can catch it. The difference between the physiological strike and the energy strike. And maybe when we do it, when I revive Michael again, he can tell you maybe he can tell you the difference or maybe not. Because when you get struck with these things, you don't know what's happened until you've woken up again. You really don't feel anything until it's happened. I'm going to place my hand on Michael's neck. There's a thing called the vagus nerve, which controls your heart. It goes up into the cardio-inhibitory center in the back of your brain and literally controls what your heart does. It's enough to simply jiggle the vagus nerve. But if you can get the carotid sinus under stomach 9 as well, then double the effect. So all I've got to do here, just turn around this way, is to place my hand on Michael's neck and place one along the vagus nerve and push backwards. You see what I'm doing with his left hand? I'm not holding hands with him because I love him. I love him, but I'm holding hands with him for a reason. There are a group of points on the wrist here, all around the wrist, called energy drainage points. Acupuncturists know this. They know that if, for instance, heart 5 is needled too much, it will drain too much energy from the body. It's used as an energy drainage point in acupuncture. So we use it for fighting. We can drain energy from the body to make the person's body weak. I can simply take this here and strike it violently in what's called a reverse strike. It's a pulling, it's not just a pull, it's just, I'll do this lightly. See how Michael's whole body shook? That's called a Fa Jing movement. We'll get onto that later as well. But that's what I'm going to be doing at this point here. I'm going to be activating heart 5 and lung 8 on the other side of the arm. They're the two drainage points in the body, as well as striking to this point. Now, I'm not going to strike to this point very much. All I'm going to be doing is literally that much pressure, maybe a little more, onto his neck. Now, normally, that won't have as great effect if I'm not working these points here. This point will work very well, but you've got to hit it much harder, and there's a danger of hurting someone really badly if you don't activate the points first. This is called a setup point here, these 2 points on the wrist. So I'll just do it, and Michael can see what happens here. I've got his wrist here, he's shaking it. Stomach 9 point is located by finding where the top of the thyroid cartilage, or the Adam's apple is. You're in a lateral line across from that. Now there's a big muscle runs up the side of your neck called the sternocleidomastoid muscle. You can feel it, it's just there like that. Now if you go straight in a lateral line underneath the sternocleidomastoid muscle, that's where stomach 9 point and the carotid sinus lie. Now, to find out where the vagus nerve is, it runs from the base of the ear, just under here where the earlobe is covering, straight down the neck like this, in a fair sort of a round curve down to the neck, and just down here into stomach 11 point. This is where the clavicle's coming across here. There's a notch, little notch you can clearly feel in there. That's where it ends. Just go over the bump and then you're into the clavicle notch. That's where stomach 11 is. So the vagus nerve runs from here, which is called triple warmer 17, in a curved line down the neck and down into there. So if you place your palm fits not. God made our palm to fit into this, onto the vagus nerve. It fits perfectly into the vagus nerve, and then you can actually, even if you miss stomach 9, you'll activate the vagus nerve with the strike. And the strike has to go back in towards his backbone. It has to go in that angle. The energy drainage points on the wrist are heart 5, just in here, and lung 8, just in here. Again, in little hollows on the wrist, either side of the wrist, basically. Now, these points can be accessed in any number of ways. You can strike straight into these points, like so, or the best way to do it is what we call a negative strike. You can simply grab the wrist like this, at the points. Notice this long ring finger here is going around the point, the thumb's going around the point here, and jerk the arm backwards, not just a pull, that'll do nothing. If I just do a very light farging motion, you'll see the arm shake. That's the sort of action we're looking at to drain energy from the body to make the other points much more effective. Here is the energy drainage points again from a different angle on the wrist, so you won't be able to see them on this side, but to see how the hand simply wraps around the arm, it's just like that. There's the thumb, there's the fingers, and you're jerking it like this. We're going to do another point now. This point here, it works better with a setup point, but I don't even need to use a setup point with this point. It's just here on this corner of the eye, not right on the corner of the eye, that's gallbladder 1. We're looking at triple heater 23 point. It's just here in the notch, just above the eye. Now, I'm only going to do this just the once because I don't want to get Michael into a spasmodic state, which is what happens. I'm just going to ask Michael to brace himself. Brace yourself, Mike. And just show you the difference between a normal palm strike and this energy strike, this dipmat to the dipmat point. Now, of course, if you strike anyone this side of the head with a lot of power, of course you're going to hurt them. But I'm going to use the same amount of power to his head with a normal palm strike, and then use it to the energy strike, and you'll see the difference. He just braces himself. He can take a whack there. It's nasty and it's not pleasant, but you can take, and you can feel it. But it is nothing really happening. Now all I've got to do is to strike downwards over the eye just here, and we'll see the difference. And we'll ask Mike what the difference was. Right?
Oh, jeez.
There. Now it's a nasty point. It's a very deadly point, but that was a partial knockout. It just takes your legs away. It makes you go weak in the legs. And I daren't do it any harder than that to put him right down because it's an extremely dangerous energy drainage point. Point 23 is an extremely dangerous point. It's an extreme energy drainage point in the body. To find it, all the dipmac points are in little hollows. To find it, you've got to just place your finger above the eyebrow, about there, and run your finger down. Where your finger stops, that's where the point is, because your finger's got to go over a lump to continue, you see? It's in a little hollow. There's where his eyebrow finishes, just here. just in the corner of the eye. That's triple warmer 23. And it must be struck down, straight down, bang like that. Now I use this weapon here. There's a little lump here. It's a really good weapon to use. Just here there's a little lump. You feel it in your own body. It's a metacarpal bone here. It's a little lump. And that little lump can actually be struck into the point and downwards. You can access it by doing that. Much better that you use the little lump, because now you've got a weapon going inside into the point and dragging it downwards rather than just your palm. So you're using that and downwards to get that great effect. All right?
Oh, jeez.
Remember before first of all, with this strike here, it's a physiological strike in which you don't feel anything. You just wake up. You don't feel any pain or anything with that strike. This strike's different. This is the energy drainage point, and it will cause pain as well as an energy drainage knockout. So I'll just try and also the difference between when I was slamming Michael on the head, just the physical thing of slamming on the head, to when I actually did it. So I'll just
Well, certainly the first technique, it's not pleasant, but it really isn't painful. You just, all of a sudden, you're not standing up anymore, and you're not really there. The second technique is more painful, and the shock feels as if it's spreading downwards, and then you feel lightheaded afterwards, even after the resuscitation points have been activated a little bit.
Dim Mak is not just the easy thing of just taking a bunch of points and then telling people to punch at these points, to strike these points. It goes a lot deeper than that. There's a whole lot more stuff that goes much deeper, and precision is required as well. Hence, it takes a long time to learn Dim Mak properly at its utmost levels. However, I teach a lot of law enforcement agencies and people, even SWAT teams. And these people obviously require something that's going to be easy, they can use easily, and effective. And so you can take from Dim Mak certain areas to train people in self-defense methods using Dim Mak, the safest methods to use. When I say safe, safe for me, safe for the doer, not for the for the attacker rather. So we want the things that are going to be safe for myself, but not so safe for an attacker. And we can take things from Dim Mak to learn this. However, there's still got to be a few areas, even taking these easy ways of doing it, that one must learn. We don't have one brain. Science now knows, and tells us that we actually have 3 brains up there. There's our human brain, which is obvious. If you like to take it on an evolutionary scale, we have your reptiles, way, way back. You have the reptiles. They had a brain. If you like, whoever created us said, okay, in a nutshell, let's try out this brain. So they're trying out this brain in the reptiles. The reptiles don't think. They don't see too well. They see a blur. If someone's dressed in red, they'll see a blur, a red blur. Something's coming to a reptile, and the reptile knows it's dangerous, it's going to do something to it. The reptile will just be there like a crocodile. We have many of those in Australia. Even the most deadly snakes in the world are in Australia. We have to deal with them on our farm. They're lovely creatures if you don't hurt them. However, a snake knows that someone's coming to it to hurt it. It won't move immediately. Its first thing is to try and get away. Second, it's just sitting there like this. It won't think to itself, oh, here comes John. He's coming towards me to hurt me. When he gets me, I'm going to do a leg sweep, come up with my mouth, grab him in the carotid sinus point, and then knock him out. He's not thinking this. He's being agitated. Snakes become agitated when someone comes near them. It's like someone sticking a needle in you. When that person comes within that snake or the crocodile's range of striking, the pressure in their side, or wherever this pressure is, becomes so great, they simply, subconsciously, just turn, take a bite, kill, finish. And then they go back to whatever it was they were doing. They don't think anger. They don't think aggression. They don't think, quick, I've got to kill this person. It's just a natural thing built into their body. This is their reptile brain. When the next creatures were tried out, like the mammals, the reptile brain wasn't discarded. A new brain was simply put over top of that brain. So you still have so dogs and cats still have the reptile brain, but they also have the mammalian brain. It's the same token for us. When the human beings were tried out, let's chuck in a new brain, we still have the other two brains. What do all animals do? Every animal on this earth, what does it do when it attacks? Even sharks do it. Animals, mammals, have this natural instinct. They don't have to think, go into the reptile part of my brain. This is your survival part of your brain, is the reptile brain. It happens automatically and naturally because of certain things that the animal is caused to do by certain switches coming into it. All human beings, all animals work upon switches. For instance, at a very basic level, we have a learned switch. We get up in the morning, as soon as we get up in the morning, we go and clean our teeth. This is a switch we learn. We clean our teeth in a certain way. That's a learned switch when we wake up. Waking up causes, that's the switch. The human body is called the body electric. You don't go and fiddle with a light bulb to turn it on. You turn on this little switch on the wall and miraculously a whole room is lit. It's the same with us. We want to fight someone. We don't block, punch, do this technique that we learned in the class and then hit him. That's fiddling with the light bulb. We have what the person's doing to us turn on a switch, which causes us automatically to go into the reptilian brain mode, attack that person. We don't defend ourselves, we attack them, which is defense, and it's finished. We walk off, our brain isn't angry, we're not hurting ourselves through anger, bang, 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 and we're finished. This is the reptilian brain, part of our own brain. And to get into this part of the brain, we have certain physical conditions that we can use to help us get into the brain. It's not just a fact of bending your back. I can just bend my back and I'm not in the reptilian brain mode. I can stretch my fingers, it's starting me in the reptilian brain mode. If I do both, it's really helping me to get into the reptilian brain mode. No one can teach you the reptilian brain mode, it must be learned yourself. But I can show you certain physical things that will help you get into this reptilian brain mode. If you look at a person's eyes, they become like an animal. It's like when someone attacks you, they open a little door and then they no longer see this fragile human being there anymore. They see this raving animal, salivating at the mouth, teeth. These eyes put you off. What happens when a huge man confronts a bull pit terrier, a really vicious bull pit terrier? The bull pit terrier is not big, it's this big. He could easily defeat it, kick it to the neck, strangle it out. But what does he do? He's afraid of that animal, and so he backs off. It's not because of the thought, oh, I'm going to get bitten. It's because that animal is sheer aggression. It's sheer what's called yang energy as opposed to yin energy. And that makes us back off. That turns a switch on in our own bodies to back off. Now this is what we try to be when someone attacks us. We go into the reptilian brain mode. The person's coming in to attack us. Whoa, I don't want any part of this, he says, because he's confronted by not a human being, but a wild animal. So, we have certain things. One of the things is to arch the back. Now, if you look at, I'm not going to go into the Tai Chi classics here. My art is Tai Chi. Dip Mak, by the way, is Tai Chi. Dip Mak, Tai Chi is a way of hiding the very deadly strikes that we have in Tai Chi. For instance, you've got a lovely little movement like this. It looks like a very nice, soft dance. In Tai Chi we have basic techniques and hidden techniques. One of the basic techniques would be the obvious, just throw a punch to the muscle. Bang, there's your block, putting my hands out. I'm going to take the block, put him down, there's a nice little wrist lock. Maybe hit him in the face at the most. That's not reptilian brain, that's nothing. Throw the straight punch again, Michael. Thanks, mate. That wasn't quite into the reptilian brain mode yet. I'm not doing it yet. It's sort of getting there, though. I'm also using a setup point, striking up the inside of Michael's arm. With the flow this time, I'm putting energy in, I'm making his brain explode using that technique. That just explains the difference. That how Tai Chi hides the very important death strikes. So, we have physical ways, arching the back. The Tai Chi classics tell us this. They don't say, arch your back to go into the reptilian brain mode. They speak in, like, Chinese rhyming couplets, and then they're translated into English, so they don't sound like much. One of the classics says, to raise the back. What does raise the back mean for her? People, does it do this? You lift up your... No, it doesn't. It means to round the back off. And in doing so, we raise the very deadly yang energy up the back to these points here that I was talking about earlier on, gallbladder 20. That's the starting point. That's the input point for the reptilian brain mode, is gallbladder 20. If you can activate those points yourself, you go straight into the reptilian brain mode. One of the ways we've got of activating these points in behind the head here are simply to round the back. You can't really speak properly when you're starting to go into this mode because the energy is raising up the back and changing you from a sort of a human being into a reptile then. But if I can just show you here, I'll stand side onto the camera and I'll just try and show you the difference. Here I am standing here normally. I have an S-shaped back. That's a normal back to take the bumps and grinds of the day. But you watch what happens to the back. I'll just stand here and try and get these points activated by rounding the back, as a dog or a cat or a shark does. Now, you'll notice some other things happening here as well. I'm not going right into it because I want to talk to you. You'll see how I'm opening what's called the qua under the arms here. I have a roundedness, so I can fit a fist distance under my arms. This is what we're also told in the Tai Chi Kata. This has a way, I'm sorry if my voice is sounding a bit strange, but you can't speak any other way when you're doing this. This is also a way we have of going into the reptilian brain mode, of opening the qua. Now if I go into it a little bit more, I'm opening up the bottom qua. I'm also opening up the legs here, pushing them out to open up the bottom qua. In conjunction with this rounding of the shoulders, rounding of the back, we can go into the reptilian brain. However, if I want to get that happening a little bit more, watch what I'm doing with my hands now. I'll raise my hands, I'll do everything else. Now, see there's something different happening. My eyes are changing. I've stretched my fingers greatly. This is how Bagua Zhang gets into the reptilian brain mode. It stretches the fingers. It's not the arms. You don't tense the arms greatly. It's stretching and concaving the fingers. That has a direct effect on gallbladder 20 to activate the reptilian brain mode. It's very difficult to come out of the reptilian brain mode once you've been in it. You have to settle down after it. And this is how we fight in Tai Chi. Everything is accumulative. Everything adds to what... No good going out and fighting someone like this, yeah, and then wanting to go and have a sleep because you've wasted so much energy. Tension wastes energy. What we want to do in Dip Mak, or in the internal martial arts, is to use this much energy to have that much effect. What I use to teach law enforcement officers. Ways of using Dip Mak, relatively easy ways for self-defense. And it's simply this. We have three weapons rather, and three areas of the body that we teach people to strike through to with Dip Mak to have the greatest effect. And they're possibly the most deadly strikes. You've seen a couple of them already in this tape. I'll just take you through a few more. However, the reason that I brought into the reptilian brain is no good doing this if Michael attacks me and I go like this. If great force here, he's going to hit me no matter what, because he's got more yang energy. What you've got to do with the reptilian brain mode, I'm coming back to normal now, is to get more yang energy than your attacker and give it back to them. That's what for years, people said in the internal arts, oh yeah, you redirect the person's energy onto them. They thought it was something like, he's throwing here, he's pushing hard here, and so that physically pushes me to push here, you see. It's got nothing to do with that. It's literally got to do with the energy that person's giving you affects your own yang energy to grow greater than his, and it's accumulative. What I'm going to be showing you now is just one. What I mean by 1, 2, and 3 is 1, 2, and 3 deadly strikes. We're going to do one, just one, which will do the damage, just for the time being. The weapons, first weapon, your fingers. Just your fingers. I'm going to be showing you a way to use the fingers. If I can just get one of those. There, thanks, Mark. So that you can train on the mitt, first of all. I don't want anyone damaging their fingers, so I'm going to show you how to do it correctly from the very beginning. If I strike it like that, with straight fingers, I could damage my fingers if I hit a hard bony area on someone's face. I've got to have some give, and so I use what's called the Dim Mak claw. This is a whole video in itself, so I'll go over it briefly here. See how that's not the Dim Mak, it's flat. This is the Dim Mak claw. See how it's all concave in here? And there's a little bit of internal tension there, not extreme external tension, not floppy in between that. Now, if I strike like that, sure, I could percuss my knuckles and get percussive breaks across my fingers. Now see how I'm going to attack. I'm going to attack, just hold it fairly so I can hit him like here. So that you see how I'm going to get some suspension on my fingers. If I push in hard here, see how the fingers are going, they're not going to be hurt. Not going to be hurt at all. By the time it's happened, the person's gone. So you train on the mitt, simply very lightly at first, simply doing this, simply very lightly. Do it in a reverse stance as well as a natural stance. This is just a physical part. I'm not using reptilian brain law or anything, or any Fa Jing here. We're going to go into Fa Jing in a minute. I'm just striking it, just to give me the confidence to know that I'm not going to hurt my fingers when I strike it. And you build the power up until you can strike it just with as much power as you can, just with your arm first, without using your waist turn first. So, and once you've got to that level, you'll find that it's starting to hurt a little bit. So we take it on up to its next level, that of Fa Jing. And you can hit twice as hard and it won't hurt anymore. Because the reptilian brain is coming in now to protect your own hands. Fa Jing means explosive energy. The reptile brain and Fa Jing are interlinked. You can't take them away from each other. Watch what the waist does when I strike this thing now. It's not going to go like that. It's not going to go like that. There's going to be 3 shakes at the waist, but violent shakes. So we get... Now, if you can see it there, what happened there was left, right, left. 3 shakes at the waist. Upon impact, I'm totally out of it. I'm totally out of control upon impact for that split second. You must be. Human beings, animals are not in control when they fight. They just... But they do the right stuff. They do the right things. Human beings must also do the right things, but totally out of control. It's like sneezing. Fa Jing, a sneeze is the closest thing to Fa Jing that I can get. When you sneeze, you can't control. You don't go, achoo! You don't control it. Your whole body, achoo! Your whole body shakes, doesn't it? When you sneeze, you can't even leave your eyes open. You have to close your eyes. So whenever you see me hit this thing in a Fa Jing mode, for that split second, there's a blink. It's not like this, I'm going to get hit. But it's just for a very split second, because that's Fa Jing. Your eyes pop out if you don't close your eyes. But you'll do it naturally anyway. Don't now go home and say, oh, Monty, you said to close his eyes. Like this. It's just a split second blink. So I'm going to do the fingers again now. Now, I didn't even feel the fingers there. If I'm doing it like this, I'm starting to feel that pressure on my hand. If I do a Fa Jing movement, however, I don't even feel it. Not even feeling it on my hands. And yet it's twice the power that I was using when I was using that. That's your first weapon that you're going to be using. The second weapon is what we used earlier, what's called in karate a shuto, or a knife edge as we call it. It's this area of your hand. The only thing you've got to be aware of when you're using this knife edge is the fact that you don't keep your fingers together. You don't hit with a flat hand like this, because if you hit any bony area, it's going to percuss your fingers together, you're going to hurt your fingers. Always at the end of this strike, there's an upward flick. At the end of any Fa Jing movement, there's like a whipping action at the end of it, no matter what you're using anyway. I'll show you a little bit more about that when we get into punching. See how that's flicking up at the end and the fingers are apart, naturally apart, loose. If I go like this, I can start feeling it now across here. I could easily break those two fingers if I hit something even with this part of my hand and not even with the fingers, because they'll percuss together if I use so much power. It's okay if you're using incorrect technique like that, but we don't want that sort of power. That's insignificant power. We want that to hit up at the end like this, and it naturally does it when you do a Fa Jing movement anyway. I'll do exactly the same thing that I did before, except now I'm going to be doing this Fa Jing on the end of it. See how the waist again shook left, right, left when I struck it. I didn't even feel it, yet it had much greater power than if I was striking like this. That's the second weapon. The third weapon is the heel palm. We don't strike like that. See how it delivers yin? That's a yin-shaped hand. That's a yang-shaped hand. A yin-shaped hand is full of yang energy. Excuse me. This shaped hand can only deliver yang energy. It can be used like that. Now, it's used up that yang energy, it's full of yin energy. The only real work now that shaped hand can do is that. Now it's delivered that yin energy. Now it's full of yang energy again. So the shape of hand you use is full of the reverse energy. So the yin hand is full of yang. The yang hand is full of yin. So we're going to be using that heel palm, but it's not just a push. It's a releasing strike, like this, releasing the energy into the object. Once again, with the Fa Jing shake, shake goes straight through the body then, and even moves the person's body, although I'm only hitting the mid. It goes through and into the ground. It's getting into another story though. So it releases the energy like so. There are times when we only need to tap like this and deliver a blow, for instance, to gallbladder 3, which is your temple area, like that. It's just a light slap using this mount on your hand. It's not like this, it's simply flicking the hand to that area will knock someone out or even kill them. Like that. But you see how I'm extending now that mount. It's being thrust out. And that's the way we have of putting the energy into the point to upset the person's energy balance and to drain so much energy that he falls down, either dead or knocked out, using just a light pressure with that. But you can't do it like that. You have to use huge amount of pressure like that to affect that area. So there are 3 weapons. Very simple. Fingers, shuto or knife edge, and heel palm releasing. They're all releasing. The fingers are releasing. See how the fingers are loose? As soon as they come forward, you get that little internal tension on the end of it. This is loose. It releases at the end. So it's loose, releases at the end. So we're getting back to now we've got the weapons. Now we need the targets. Obviously the first target is the eyes. Now we don't poke into the eyes. There's points here, just here, below, just here, below the eye, inside the eye socket, called stomach 1. They're points that make a person feel really, really ill. Instantly nauseous. So nauseous they can't do anything, they have to sit down. So not only are you getting the eyes here, but because there's a danger of missing the eyes and hitting the forehead, the sheer action of this strike brings your fingers down in a downward motion with the claw. So the fingers, even if you miss, are going to drag into the eyes and inside of the eye sockets. And it's very simple. What I was doing then on the mitt, I'll do it on Michael's chest, is just oh, sorry, mate. Death point, death point.
No hair point.
Sorry. It's in and down. But the action, see the action of the hand. It's not me thinking, doing that. It's just the action of the body. Look. See, if I shake, it's naturally gone out and retracted downwards and inwards. So that's what I'm doing with that hand. The other hand simply comes in. And you don't even worry about the block. When someone attacks you, just attack Michael, I don't think of, oh, get his hand, get his hand. I don't think of doing this. I think of, you'll attack Michael. Get his eyes. Get the points. Slam my fingers into his face. I blocked his arm, sure, but I didn't even know I'd blocked them. Just throw a one-punch, Michael. I didn't think about block, punch. I just did it. I went for his eyes. And in doing that, I built up so much yang energy that subconsciously and automatically, I slammed his arms anyway. I blocked his arms anyway. Most attacks in the street, you find some people able to throw a really good straight punch. Not many. Most people will come straight in with the old haymaker. Bang. That's the most common on the football field anywhere. The most common sort of attack. The other most common sort of attack, rush in. Is simply a rush in and a try, a grappling type of thing to the floor. So these techniques, these non-techniques, I distinguish between techniques and non-techniques because there's an old Chinese saying that says, you use technique, you lose. Which means that in the club we might train, yeah, he throws another punch, yeah, bang. I try and do that in the street and I'm dead. Because I'm thinking technique, logically. Fighting isn't logical. It does not happen logically in a classroom. Fighting is a totally illogical thing. Animals don't fight logically. They fight totally illogically, out of control. And that's what we've got to be. So the simpler the techniques or non-techniques, the easier it is for you to get into your reptilian mode and do what comes naturally. You've got to have some training. What's the most common thing that someone does when they're attacked? Just come at me, Michael. Isn't it? That's a reflex action. For instance, with guys, you didn't move, Michael.
I trust you.
Do this. He trusts me. It's usually to do that, right? When they get the crown jewels being attacked. That's a reflex action. This is a reflex action. So now we're going to take that reflex action and turn it into something positive. Because when you do this, you've got tremendous energy built up, but it's negative energy. You want to turn it back into positive energy so that you can attack the person. So that we simply train in not doing this anymore. Attack, Michael. We change the energy from this to how dare you do that to me. That's what we change it to. So we're taking a reflex action, slightly bending it, so we don't have to... You try and learn this. It's a totally non-natural action. And that no matter how much training you go through for your whole life, you will never do this in a street fight. You'll get clobbered. You'll resort to going back to your schoolboy days, which is grappling, try and throw the person on the ground. So if you have techniques or methods of fighting which can be easily bent to suit a reflex action, one of your own reflex actions, then you're 90% of the way there to defending yourself. So that's the first thing we learn. You simply have your puck them slowly. And using my arms, remember, you keep the choir open. If I come in like this, he's going to clobber me, see? The choir is naturally open because of the reptilian brain anyway. It causes his arms to be bumped. You can go into any number of different methods from there, but for now, that's what we're using. The first weapon against the first target, the eyes. Small people can use it, anyone can use this, but you've got to make sure that it's really something happening, because you're going to be in trouble if you do that to someone's eyes just for the fun of it, obviously. These are all death points. The second target is the one we've already shown. That's the stomach 9-pointer. If you're a little bit worried about accuracy here, all you have to do is simply raise your hands and you'll get it. You'll either get it or very close to it, which is going to make it react anyway, or you'll get the vagus nerve anyway. Don't worry about what I said earlier. When I was doing that earlier, the knockout earlier, I had to do it absolutely correctly so I didn't hurt Michael, so that I could get not such a bad knockout happening, just sort of a semi-knockout, although it worked very effectively. However, now we're going to be chopping straight across the neck like this. That's much easier because your hand is in its natural position in this position. So we're going to be chopping straight across the neck. Now it doesn't matter whether you chop just under the chin or down low, you're going to be getting very vital points and the vagus nerve anyway, and you're going to do great damage to the person. Once again, we train this from the most common attack, the old round attack. Your partner can just throw maybe his fist, or he can throw a hand to you or whatever. Just come over this way. Just do this. Michael's going to throw the round punch now. Ah! This hand, because of the turning of my body, came out and struck him. Don't even worry about a setup point for the moment. We're not going right into intricate Dim Mak. We're doing just basic self-defense using Dim Mak now. But my hand did actually hit Nag1 here, this point, pericardium 6. But my other hand was simply raised. I didn't have to do anything with this hand, nothing at all, because his energy is coming onto me. I don't even have to go forward. But what I would normally do, just stand up there, Michael, just come in with a punch. Gah! I would naturally come forward anyway, never ever retreat. Retreating causes him to be yang and you to be yin forevermore, and you never get anything done. You immediately comes in. If Michael wants to punch me, he knows I'm here. I'm not going to be anywhere else. He knows that. Otherwise he wouldn't punch me. He knows I'm going to be here. So subconsciously, even if he's not a fighter, he knows subconsciously where to hit me. It's like kids know how to hit a tennis ball. Their brain doesn't say, oh, this vector, this vector, this vector, boom, I'll hit the ball. Their brain just goes boom and they hit the ball. They know the ball's there, even though it's moving. He knows I'm here. So he knows when he throws his punch, I'm going to be here. I'm not going to be anywhere else. Even if I move back, he knows he's coming forward so he can get me. However, he throws a punch. Ah! He doesn't want me to be here. He wants me to be back there or where I was. He doesn't want me to be here anymore. You do the unexpected. And the most unexpected thing you can do is to come here, come in, not go back. He wants you to go back. His trigger is telling him, as a street fighter maybe, he knows, 1,000 street fights, he knows what's going to happen. I do something different, upsets his trigger. He doesn't want this to happen. His body thinks, oh, what are you doing? You should be out there. By the time that's happened, I've struck him in stomach 9, he's knocked out, and I rush off. So that's our second target, is simply the neck area that I was talking about earlier on, used with the second weapon. Our third target is a point just under the nose called GV, or Governor Vessel 26. It's quite an amazing point, a very deadly point. Through the head. It's just where the nose joins the upper lip, and that's the point straight through there, and you strike it at 45 degrees up through like that. Now, if Michael holds himself there really tightly, so I can't just take a stance or something, so I can't lift his head, I could probably push it back because I've got the better leverage, but it's difficult to push his head up, right? Bend down. I just simply put one finger under his nose. See? That's how sensitive that point is. Now, can you imagine attacking that point? Throw the roundhouse punch again. Slamming that heel palm. Now we're using the heel palm. Third weapon against the third target. Up into the nose like this. This is the technique that I prefer to teach women first up. Women have an advantage over men in that a man doesn't expect a woman to fight back. Even if he expects it, he thinks it's going to be ineffectual. He doesn't expect her to do anything. He usually grabs her hand. Come with me. You wait. You don't hit him straight away to show you know something. You wait. He's grabbing your hand, pulling you somewhere. You say, excuse me, what? Bang! Then you hit him. You don't shape up or something. He knows you're going to do something. Use your womanly wiles, if you're a woman watching this tape, to help you. He doesn't know you're going to do anything to him. Even if he grabs your hair, you can still come up with that under the nose. But you've got to be really serious using that because you're going to kill him with a lot of pressure. The biggest thing I find with teaching females is to get them to use that yang energy that I was using earlier, that stream yang energy. And I was teaching a young lass in Michael's class a few years back, and she was having great difficulty simply hitting the met even. She just didn't, she had that females are yin, they naturally have a female yinness about them. Nothing worked except the stretching of the barbed wire fingers. So barbed wire really helped her greatly. And when, whoa, she had the most amazing power on this mitt for a woman that I've ever seen, because she was just, that worked for her. So using the things to bring in the reptilian brain. Females have reptilian brains, so same as males. A female snake can bite just as hard as a male snake. So we've got 3 targets: eyes, under the nose, neck. But there are 2 spots on the neck. There are many spots on the neck, of course, but there are 2 major spots in the neck that I'll show you. And that's going back to the first weapon, the fingers, into the neck. And that's CV22. Obviously, most people know about the pit of the neck. It's a death point. It's what's called an irretrievable death point. Not even CPR can bring you back after being struck in this point right here. And it's exactly the same as just come like that, Michael. You just simply, it's like the eyes. At this time, you're going straight in though, because it's a very soft area here. One of your fingers is going to go in there, even maybe 2. It's going to go straight into the pit of the neck. So you train in those methods. So they're simple methods. Thanks, Mike. They're simple methods that we can use from DIPMAC. They're not too esoteric. They're not too difficult to learn. They're relatively easy. And that's taking from a very complex art and giving you a simple way. I've taught this to SWAT teams, police officers, military people, and they've all come back. And these people go out and try them. I don't. These people go and try them. And they go, great techniques, they work. You know, what, you use these techniques? Yeah. So they work. They work on people. And they're death points. And they're relatively easy to use. But you've got to get the reptilian brain working so that you've got enough energy to overcome that person's energy. First of all, I'll show you what the fist does. Exactly what it does here, by me showing you. Then I'll give you some training methods in order to learn this way of punching, the Fa Jing way. And this, by the way, goes for every weapon you use, your elbow, your shoulder, your knee, or whatever. There's always this twist, this shaking of the waist, this violent shaking to get the most power that your body can possibly give. As I said before, these 3 knuckles, not these 2, like most people use, it's these 3. There's only one instance when we ever use these 3 knuckles, and that's in what's called a penetration punch. It's a different punch which rolls over upon impact. From there, it comes in from the side. Comes in from the side. And that's the only time we use those 2 knuckles. The other time, it's using these. These 3 can actually take more force than these 2 together, although they're smaller, but the impact is spread out over the 3. Because there's a twisting action. The fist starts out palm down. As you start to push your waist out, remember this goes out at a split second, great speed, it sort of leaves the fist behind for, a thousandth of a second. By the time the fist is catching up with the waist is already hooking back the other way, so that's giving the whip on the end. This is the stop of the whip, that slow bit of the whip. This is where it emanates, the crack of the whip. So by the time the waist is coming back the other way, your hand is flicking over on its back. It's making contact before it gets over on its back, and it's screwing inwards and coming back in a natural curving motion. It's not going and pulling your hand back. All you can do from here is pull it back and hit with the other hand maybe. You've got to completely reload your body. You want your body, remember I said before, you want your body to keep going, to want to keep going, hit, 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 in a natural body motion. The only way to do that is to let your hand go naturally. See, in all of those punches, you will have seen just natural. I didn't do it. After each punch, the other hand's already there, ready to strike again. I didn't do it. It's just there because of the natural turning of the body. So that's how, and then we come through with everything rebounds into the next. It's called rebound. So we're getting a natural rebound from that, natural rebound, and the body is loading and opening all the time, like a spring, loading and opening. The opening causes it to load. The loading causes it to open. Bang, 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 like that. So just to explain it with the punch, there's the opening, there's the loading, there's the opening again. So the body's like this. And it wants to make you keep going and keep going. It doesn't make you want to think, oh, I've got to punch him again, oh, bang. It doesn't make you want to keep doing that. It makes you want to go, yeah! I want to keep going now. I want to keep hitting him. It makes you want to keep going. It brings up that yang energy. So that's what the physicalness of the fist. If I just try and do it here lightly. Notice where the thumb always ends up on here, flush, not tight here and here. Now, to train what you're doing, it'll feel pissy at first. You'll think, oh, God, I'm not getting much power here. But it's worth the training. You hold your fingers on the mitt, and you try and punch from that distance only. Fighting happens, come in, Mike. Fighting happens from here. There's no such thing as long-range fighting. You people talk about long and short range. What's that? Michael can't attack me now. Now he's going to hit me. This is where fighting happens, here. You've got to be able to hit someone from this distance without going, by the time you've gone by that, he's going to hit you or throw you on the ground and strangle you. You've got to be able to hit someone here with great power. That's where the Fa Jing comes in. That's the reason that we do all this stuff. Everything we do in Taiji, our push hands, everything we do is related to striking from that much distance, being able to knock someone out from that much distance. So you train with your fingers on the mitt. You train to punch from here. Now if I do that with as much power as I can possibly get, for instance, this type of punch, the old Wing Chun type of punch, only using my triceps, as much power as I can get, this as much as I can get. Now that's about as much as, that's as much power as I can get from putting my fingers on it. However, and that's really, I was trying very hard just using my triceps. However, if I put my fingers on it and use the Fa Jing from the waist and the loose hand, even with my fingers on it, I'm going to get much more power punching it even with my fingers on it. So what you should train in, put your fingers on it, don't pull back here and hit it. Hit from there in the beginning. And if you can get a reasonable amount of, you won't get full power of course from there, that's where you get your full power from, that distance. Maybe 2 or 3 inches away, that's where you're going to get your full power from. The strange thing is you don't get any more power dragging your hand right back there because you lose your Fa Jing then. By the time your waist is moved, the fist is only there at that stage, you see. Your fist has to be the correct distance away so that when your waist goes, your fist can reach the thing within that very brief time. So your hand's here, and you twist your waist left, bang, right. Just do left and right to start with. Now, people have great difficulty with this. The way I train them to do is I say, okay, turn your waist to the, if you're using your right hand, turn your waist to the left to start with, put your hand on the mitt with your fingers palm down. Now, squeeze your palm over like that, and at the same time turn your waist back the other way. It's difficult, and you won't get much power here because that's not the way it's done. But it's just a way to train you to get your waist at least turning back the other way, rather than doing that sort of a punch. So you turn your waist to the left, wait, then squeeze your waist back the other way and let your foot come up naturally as you saw before. Just do that. You won't get much power, but that's the way to learn it. Then, another way we've got to learn it is we play a game. What you saw me do then when I punched, when I punched the mitt, you saw my hand coming up. So what I tell people is, hit the mitt and touch your partner on the other shoulder instantly. Now that's going to teach you, because I go like this. See, wrong, too late. Or, you can't do it because your waist's the wrong way. The only way to touch him on the shoulder is to do it correctly. So you hear, you've instantly touched him on the shoulder. That's the rebound attack from that strike. So that's the way we've got of Tits, and the way I've got of teaching people how to do. That's the hardest thing people have got, is turning the waist back the other way when they strike. Once you've sort of got that going, then you think of 3 shakes, not just 2. So doing it slowly, it's like 1, 2. So the hips not only shake twice, right, left and right, if it's the right hand, they shake a slight back the other way, so you're getting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So just see if you can pick up what the waist is doing. It went 1, 2, 3 then. And 3 shakes of the waist. And you can see that power going through, even through Michael's arm down to his, but his feet are going backwards, just hitting the mitt, not even touching his body. So it's just hitting the mitt, it's resounding through his body into the ground, causing his body to go back. So much power is there just from a very slight distance. And anyone can learn this. Anyone can learn how to do it. You've simply got to do this, be like a rag doll. The next training method that I'm going to show you is called small sansao. It means, sansao simply means a style of free hands. It's a way we've got that Taiji gives us, a training method, 2-person training method, of learning about Dim Mak. It's probably the best way you've got of learning about Dim Mak. As I said before, it's utterly useless going and getting a dummy or getting the charts, looking where the points are, and then practicing striking to those points. It has no relevance to you whatsoever. The way to learn Dim Mak point striking, or even acupuncture, or even shiatsu, is to learn the points with some relevance to yourself. And so the Chinese give us a way of learning these points, an easy way, so that we remember them all for always. We don't have to remember where they are, because we've got a method of learning where the points are and how to strike them. It gives us the correct direction, the correct power, everything that we need for Dim Mak within this not so short training. I call it small sansao. Many people will think it's a long set, but in Taiji and Bagua Zhang in particular, we have the longest katas, the longest training methods of any martial arts system. It's sort of overkill, but I guess they're making sure that you learn this stuff. So I'll bring Michael in again, and I'll start off with what's called the small sansao. It's a series of, all Michael is my training partner. He's just throwing the punches here. When we do a thing called large sansao, he has things to do as well, back to me. Then you learn it as a dance first of all, bang, 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 then you build up the power and the speed, and then you start putting everything out of place so that you react with the correct reaction at any time. It doesn't matter where it comes or where it is, or how much power there is. That's the beauty of it. So with the small sansao, your partner, I'm doing the methods, my partner is just a punching bag. He's just throwing the punches to show. Now the very first thing we have to do to give yourself the best chance here, so that you don't get a wrong impression or make mistakes, is to make sure your partner can hit you first. I see so many people saying, he throws a punch, I block it. You wouldn't even block third punch. I'm not even going to block that punch. It's not even going to hit me. So I don't even bother to block it. You've got to make sure your partner can hit you first, otherwise you're doing yourself a disservice. So you simply throws a round punch and make sure he can reach you first. Then, when I simply throw my arm up, it's going to hit the right point, Naguan, without me even thinking about this. I don't have to think, throw the punch. Oh, where's Naguan? I'm going to miss it before it gets there, you see. All I'm simply doing is a movement like this, swiveling my feet on the heels. On the heels. Wing Chun do a movement like this, which is an evasive movement. We want a power movement. Power comes from the heels and swiveling the toes. I'll explain why. I better explain why. Thanks, Michael. Michael can just put his hand there for me. Okay, I'll put my hand up here. I'm not going to move the angle of my arm. However, and Michael's not going to move his arm inwards. He's just going to hold it stiff where it is. If I move my heels, there's 3 or 4 inches between Michael's arm and my hand. 3 or 4 inches. I've got to push my arm out now to make contact with it. If, however, I move my toes and swivel on my heels, it stayed there. The hand has stayed there. So I'm going to get much more smashing power swiveling on my heels using the power from my waist. Again, it's the power from the waist. And I didn't even have to think. I'm looking over here at the camera. I'm not looking where Michael is. I'm still hitting directly on Naguan. One hand up in the middle of his arm. Energy drainage point again. And the direction is given to me. See, it's going this way. Simply by, I'm turning my body and throwing my hand out like this. I'm not going like this. I see a lot of when I try to teach karate people or boxers or something, they go, that's just an arm. Again, it's that sort of a punch. It's not that. So it's always a good idea. This has a solo form as well. It's beyond the scope of this tape to show the solo form. It'll take too long, but I'll show you the two-man form and you can work out the solo form from the two-man form. So you're swiveling your toes, swiveling on your heels. You're simply getting that body rotation from left to right, loose arms, remember, and my arms are just moving, see? They're just dangling. Now, if I simply control this arm a little bit more and use just the right amount of muscle power to get it going up and out, it'll be exactly the right thing. There's tremendous power in that strike because I'm not stiffening it at all. It's totally loose. You've all heard the story of the little girl in the school here, and the little boy is teasing her. She spins around, just doing nothing. She just spins around and goes, "Wah!" like this, and knocks him out cold. She hasn't thought, punch him, she's just spun around. That's the sort of centrifugal power that we're using here. You don't even have to know where the points are, because that will get the point anyway. And the beauty of this is, it doesn't matter if he's a very tall person, very short person. He's aiming for my face. And so my trajectory has got to be exactly the same every time, because his hand is aiming to my face. See, he's not trying to punch over my head, he's aiming to my face, so the trajectory hits on the right place at exactly the right time. All you've got to work out is the timing so that it makes it, just do it softly this time, so that you don't do that, and completely miss it. That's all you've got to work out. But if you move, Michael moves, and I move at the same time that he moves, and once again, you're learning to move at the same time the person moves. You're not waiting for the peripheral to strike you. But this is not the main thing. This will damage. This is a setup point. You're not thinking about this point here. That's just turning your waist. It's a nothing thought. This is the main strike. Again, carotid sinus, stomach 9 point. And all simply is a matter of doing. See, the natural movement for my left hand, when I'm turning to the left, the centrifugal movement is that. The natural movement for this hand is not that, because if I try to do that, I get into all sorts of trouble. The natural movement for this hand when I'm turning to the right is straight pumping out. All I've got to do is raise my hand. That's all I'm doing. I'm not going like this or like this. I'm simply raising my hand, letting the waist do the work. So if I turn my waist again and don't do anything with my hands, I get, see how the right hand just was thrust straight out then. All I've got to do now is to control it, and I get, just raised my hand. I haven't done a technique. No technique. Just raising, that's not a technique. Just raised my hand. So that's the first area that we learn in Small San Sao. Small San Sao, by the way, is a way of learning about good street defence. And that, of course, is your first thing. Some of the things that we do later on are a little bit more complicated, but they're just put there just so that if you can sort of get all this right, the more simple non-applications are going to be really easy for you to do. So they give you some complicated ones as well. Not expecting that you'd ever use them in a pig fit, but if you can work them and just sort of get them right in a non-conscious manner, then all the rest is going to become really easy. So that's the first thing we do. I swivel to the left, throw my left hand out, not blocking. There are no blocks. You're striking the person's arm inwardly, this way, away from him, and thrusting this hand out into his neck. So this way. That's your first strike. I've swiveled, I've struck into here. Now what we've got to do is, you then, if for instance Michael feels this, just throw the punch, Michael, and he feels a pissy striker, he'll push in on my arm to make sure, to tell me that I have not got enough centrifugal force. You can block anything with this. Remember, you never block with this, it will break. The ulna is weak. The radius is stronger. Both together are very strong. You are striking him. I'm not putting my hand up and saying, or a block, or a block. I'm striking the inside of his arm again with this little weapon here, this little bahab bony area here, into the middle of his arm. That's what I'm striking him. I'm not blocking. I'm not putting my hand up there saying, please break my arm, sir. So, there's in there and there's into the neck. We do 3 of these because they're the most important. I simply drop my hands down. Both people drop their hands down. He throws another one the other side. I swivel my toes, and I do exactly the same thing on the other side. Remember, pull short here, don't knock each other out. Some people like to hit each other just on the top of the chest, just to get a more realistic attitude to what you're doing. Put into the neck. We drop it down again, I swivel to the left, and I get another one out Now we're doing it softly now, of course, just to show you exactly what's happening. Later on, of course, what you should do is build up the power so that your partner's really throwing as hard a punches as you can get, and then you're slamming in the arm. It's advisable to wrap a big newspaper around your arm and then take out a couple of pages each day in your training so that you can finally get down to nothing here and still have the conditioning, to build up the conditioning. Because you can, it's not me that's getting hurt, it's your partner that's getting hurt with all this banging on the inside of his arms and the outside of the arms, which is what we'll do later on. So it's always good for him to have some pads, especially when you get the power and the speed built up. So we've done three movements, real slowly. 1, drop your hands. 2, drop your hands. 3. There is, however, an advanced way and a basic way to do this. I'll just explain this in its advanced way, just to show you that it does become a little more complicated, although I'll just teach it maybe at a middle advanced level way this time. That's the basic way. The advanced way is this: just throw the punch and over. You notice there were 2 strikes. Never give a sucker an even break. 2 strikes in one there. So it's coming out, it's going bang, bang, 2 strikes, bang, one after the other there. And it's very easy to do because you've already got the momentum from your waist. You just add to it, you just add a farging shake to it, and you get 2 shakes. So that's what we'll actually be doing there when we're doing those 3 strikes. So we've ended up like this. We've gone 1, 2, 3, and I've ended up back to the initial strike. Now your partner's going to put one in to your lower rib area, the next area that gets struck the most. Those sort of attacks. So he's putting one in, here it comes here, into the rib, lower rib area. Doesn't matter whether his hand's like that, or whether it's the old rip in like this. You simply drop your hand down. It's exactly the same. This is called pang hinge. It's exactly the same method that I did before when we were playing around with knives. Your hand comes down, it loads yang or loads yin energy with a yang hand, and as it comes across, it releases the yang energy into the person's arm. And we'll go from where I struck him in the chin. This is called pang from the Taiji form. Now he's going to throw the punch here. I've got to do a change step, so I've got to swivel. By the way, change, that's not, this is just the swivel back, and I bounce forward again on the other foot. That's a change step. It's not like this. It's swivel step without changing the weight first. So now he's throwing the punch in here, so I swivel and attack those points again on his arm. They're energy drainage points. Now I do the step straight forwards again with my right foot. This time I'm going to take my right hand, so it's slightly different. The right hand's coming up the middle. It's going to attack him on a point just in here where the lip joins with the chin, the indentation here, called CV24, just in here in the lip. And it's a downward strike, but you don't have, once again, you don't have to know it's a downward strike. The technique as such dictates the action, because when I pull that back fist back, the action is going downwards anyway. By the same token, when I did this one, the action was going inwards and back towards the rear of his head. Now I'm doing this one, and the action's going down anyway. But I've got to do a setup point with this one as well. Remember before I did the setup point on the wrist, like this. Now I'm going to scrape my arm straight up the inside of his arm and finish up just under the bulge here of his shoulder, just towards the inside of his arm, just in here. It's a lung point. Lung 3, I think. Yeah, lung 3. So I'll slide my hand up his arm and strike into lung 3. Again, an energy drainage point. Not only that, I'm adding energy to the point that I'm going to strike, because I'm going with the flow of energy up the inside of his arm. The flow of energy comes in Dip Mak, not in acupuncture, comes down the outside, up the inside. Once again, that's a whole new story. There are 2 different flows of energy within the meridians. We're looking at striking the Dip Mak flow of energy, which is on the outside of the inside of the meridians, which only reacts to pressure or being bent, not needling. That pressure comes down here and up the inside of the arm. So now I'm scraping my hand up the inside of his arm, which is adding energy to the point. Bang! And then I hit him just in here with the back fist. But I do an immediate step forward first. Bah! I didn't scrape his arm up here because it does tend to drain a lot of energy being struck in lung 3 up the arm. Up there into the arm as you do it, you see. But that's what I'm actually doing. I'm bouncing forward and it's amazing the amount of energy you can get with this hand. You can hear it if I just do it. If I just be very quiet once again and just do that strike here. You can hear the wind whistling. Notice there's a shake of the body. It's not just, that's nothing, that's just an arm. What the body does. Once again, exactly, there's a shake of the body as I do it. It's an immediate shake of the hips. So now I've come forward and hit him in that point there. GV26. Now Michael rips again to my lower right rib area. This time I'm going to attack him at a point just above the bulge in his elbow, just in here. It's called gallbladder 12. It's a devastating point when struck downwards like this, cutting into the hollow of the arm and downwards with the back of your arm, like this. I might just get Michael to come around this way for a second because I've got to demonstrate this point, because we don't do it this one exactly the same on the other side, so I can't just leave it there. So I've come to here, Michael's throwing the punch in here, this hand raises, my left hand, it twists as it comes down. As it twists, it cuts into the top of his arm just in here. When you get hit there, you can just have to sit down. Bang! The other hand has blocked this punch coming here anyway, and my hand continues down again to his lung points on the inside of his wrist area, down to here. So it's bang, and then down to here. So I've swiveled again. I've come from here. He's thrown the punch. I swiveled on my heel and struck him there and brought it down into the middle of his arm down there. Now we'll go back to the other side. So I come down here, bang. Now I'm going to just do a simple swivel to the other side and cut both the insides of his arms. If he's doing the rip like this, I'm going to, sorry. You've got to be careful with this one as well in training. That's why I stress that it's important to have some sort of guards on your arm so you don't do damage. Too much energy gets drained. Striking with this hand to lung points just in here, lung 8. I'm striking under here to heart 5 again, but with a scissors motion into his arm like this. And you can build up tremendous power from here. I've just done that last one. I don't move my hands from the relative position that they're in. I open the scissors like so. I open the scissors. There's a scissors. See, I open them first. Open them. And as he shoots, I cut them down, simply cut them down onto his wrist. That's the setup point again for the next shot, which is a devastating shot, just here. There's where his pectoral comes in a line with his body. One cun, or about an inch below that, is liver 14. It's a death point. Even light pressure, boom, like that, will put a person down on the ground. It just takes the power from their lungs away straight away. So I've come from here, bang, into this. I immediately bounce forward. I don't even have to think of where the shot is, because my hand's already there. It's simply bang. The hand's already there. Now see how the hands are loaded though. This one's yin and this one's yang. They both release both of their respective energies. You can get a tremendous amount of power releasing both hands, squeezing from the shoulders and from the danti end, out into that point. Dead. It's finished. Even like, as I said, just that much makes people go, oh, and they want to get out of there straight away. Doing it this way, so I've come to here, bang, so I've already swiveled on my heels to take that one. Now I bounce forward on my right foot, it's giving me the momentum for this, straight into liver 14. Liver 14 is a death point. It will cause death straight away, or if you hit it lightly, or you can hit it across this way. It will cause, in later life, extreme emotional problems. It might even cause the person to break down and cry, not through the pain, simply because you're attacking the liver meridian and the liver in the body, and that the liver controls all these things. So, across that way, it can even cause blindness in some people in later life, because that's what people who have extreme liver damage go yellow rather, get yellow eyes. People who have hepatitis, for instance, that's why their eyes go yellow, because their liver's being attacked. So when we attack the liver, it can send you blind as well. Bang. Right. Now, Michael throws a straight left to my face. I sit back. I'm going to do a change step again on my left leg, so I'm going to pull that foot in and change. My right hand is going to come down the inside of his arm. Remember, attacking neg 1, an energy release drainage point, like pulling it this time down in an adverse way, adverse energy, which is going to drain energy, not put energy, like this. At the same time, just slightly afterwards, my left hand is going to cut in just here. If you find the crease of a person's elbow, then go 90 degrees, then go 45 degrees to that, 1 inch in, that is heart 3. Didn't help the first time. It's an amazingly good point. It's a very dangerous point for striking to the heart. You stop the heart beating when you strike to this point, especially in an adverse way down this way. That's what we're going to do now. So I've come to here, bang, and bang. See how my left hand is again releasing and cutting in to that point, cutting it. It hooks in there because the elbow's there, and it'll boom, it'll hook in there as your hand comes down. Now your hand comes back. You're going to do a change step now, step forward. Your hand's coming back. Now I'm not going to do a punch to his neck. I'm not going to do a punch to his chin. I'm punching up under his chin into here to a point called conceptor vessel 23. It's just where the neck, so the chin sort of joins your neck there. But it's an upward shot. But I'm not going to go up like this. Because of the positioning of my hand, when I throw the farging punch and turn my hand over and close my fist, the action of the fist actually comes upwards a little bit. So we're looking at up. See how it's going up? I'm not going upwards. I'm just simply throwing a punch like that. The hand's turned up. There's the strike. I'll just do it to here, to the camera. Thanks, Michael. From here, I'm going to block that. Bang. Now I'm going to come back with a punch. See how the punch, it's basically a straight punch. Because of the way I'm turning my hand, I'm flicking it. It comes up. Up. The flick comes up into the jaw rather than just going straight forward with a stiff hand or trying to do anything like that. And that's the angle you want, is up into CV23. It's an extreme energy drainage point again, and it's also linked to the heart, which will stop the heart from beating. So, and they happen never 2 points together. It happens 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now Michael throws another straight. We've got a couple of these to do. Throws another straight. I again do a swivel and hit him in heart 3 on his other arm. 1, 2. Now I come forward with the same punch again, up into his face. Bah! Up into here. Now I've got 1, 2, another one, which is exactly the same as this. I've got another one, 1, 2, 3 again. So there's 3 of those exactly the same. I'm now going to go into a different section, but it looks slightly like the section we've just done. So from here, he throws another straight right. I still do this same thing into neg 1 and do a swivel. But this time, it's even more devastating from here, because I'm now going to take my right tiger paw fist. This is a tiger paw fist. If you go from your diplomat claw into a punch, the knuckles will naturally align themselves in what's called a tiger paw fist, which is this finger slightly protruding, not this finger. I see people doing it with this finger. That can get hurt because it hasn't got the one in here. It's very solid because it's got the fingers on the outside of it. That's what we use, and it's dug straight in here to CV22. Forget it. Good night. It's dead, irretrievable, and you've got tremendous power here because you're doing a swivel. You've got absolute power here with this powering in here into the pit of the throat, into CV22. You forget it, the person's dead. Never giving a sucker an even bait. Remember, this is only a training method as well. We now carry on. We now throw. I do a swivel, and I'm still going to take diplomatic points. I'm going to throw his arm over to my right as I swivel and catch it with my other arm. And see where my thumb, I don't just grab it. This time, see where the thumb is. It's right on lung 8, just in here in the wrist area. The thumb is there, the rest of the hand's just around the wrist like this. But it happens like, of course, very quick. quickly it happens. And I immediately do a swivel and take it. Now I can't do this on Michael or on someone when I don't want to hurt them, because it damages his energy system too much and it hurts like bugger anyway. But I'll just show, I can only really take it to there. I can only take it, I can't take it any further because I've got so much leverage on this point. My thumb's digging in there. But I've got to take it, I'll let it go now, I've got to take it right up to there as I swivel, you see. But if I've got it in there, of course, and I take it right up to there, his arm goes in, that's as far as I can take it. If I want to take it any further, I can't do it without hurting him, you see. So from here, I further drain the energy, pushing hard 8. Now see how the natural leverage that my left hand has got, it just flops over, look. Straight in here to a point, just down in here, on the floating rib, called liver 13. It's a very deadly point. It's often used just coming up like this. Energy drainage, the wrist, fingers, straight into either side of his abdomen, into liver 13, and it's death. It's not only an energy point, it's also a physiological point. There are very important organs behind those points, behind liver 13, just in there. Both sides of his body. That's just getting off the track for a minute. So he's come here, I've swung his hand under, the arm comes up, and with the back of the palm, always striking with that side of the palm or that side of the palm, never at the middle of the palm. You can do your bone. There are very small bones in there, but here it's flat. If you get a ruler, place it there and place it there. You place it there, it only touches on one little point. You place it there, it's flat. You place it there, it's flat. So I'm using this side of the palm into that area of his body. Now he throws another one to my face. I simply bring my hand down and do the same blocking motion that I did before into neg 1, without stepping back this time. Now as I do the swivel, I again throw his hand over. Thumbs again in here into lung 8. I swing it up in the air. See how the hands coming out. Step forward. It's a lovely shot. It's nice to do. Into liver 13. We're getting to the end of this very short set. There is more of this, but this is a place where we can finish. Michael now has something to do. He simply comes through and attacks with a chokehold. Now I'll show you something for a minute. You see all these guys, just grab around there. For starters, you've got to be either attacking someone who's very weak, or you've got to be extremely strong to choke someone out instantly with this sort of a hold. Choke it. Choke it. Squeeze my neck hard as you can. I can feel it, my face is going red, but it's not choking me out instantly. You see these guys, they're going to go like this, he's choking, they're going to go, yeah, using all this energy. They've got this really jazzy techniques like, whoa, grabbing the hand, doing this sort of stuff. By the time he's done that, he's head-butted you, he's kneed you, he's done whatever he wants to you. All you got to do to get out of a chokehold is very simple. Hold it very tightly, Michael. Is simply walk away. That's all you got to do, is to turn and walk away. Walk off. But now Michael's giving a chokehold. That's what I'm doing, what we did before with the easier version of using DIMMAC for self-defense. My hands come up, go for his neck, which is blocking his hands out anyway. But I don't do that. I allow my right foot to come in, just do it again, Michael. That momentum allowed the side of my head, just there, to smash just in above his eye, just here into stomach 3. Stomach 3 is just in under the cheekbone here. And it allowed the side of my head to slam into that point. But really, it doesn't matter where you slam. It can be the bridge of the nose, the mouth, or anywhere. It's going to stop someone anyway. The rule is, when you're headbutting someone, that's the rule. Don't use the front. Your very important DIMMAC points go down the front of your head, own head, and you can do your own head, your own self a damage. Always go for these harder points at the side of your head, there and there. It's quite hard. Physiologically, it's quite hard. So there, the point, you turn your head slightly to the side, and bang, any good headbutter, you see his nose goes away from the person, bang, and he uses that side of his head. So he's coming with that strike. I've dragged my foot back, bang, hit him in the head. I immediately come forward with both hands here and strike him on stomach 15 and 16, remember, there and there, in opposing circles. So my left hand's going to go counterclockwise, my right hand's going to go counterclockwise. But when you do this, you must remember that you don't do this. You don't just push him away. We don't do pushes. What good is pushing someone? You've got to make your partner feel something like, put your hands up, bang, something, he's got to feel something like it's got to be a slapping type of motion, just enough so he feels, oh, like he wants to cough or something. And thanks, Michael. And that's where we'll finish the small sandsow. It gets a little bit more complicated after that. Enough for this tape to show you that. It gives a really good indication of what Dim Mak does, exactly how to do it, and what the points do and the directions of the points. And really, you don't have to really know what directions to hit the points using small sandsow, because it's all there for you in the techniques.
Master Montague's book, Dim Mak, Death Point Striking, as well as his new book, Advanced Dim Mak, are available from Paladin Press, as is Mike Babin's book, Tai Chi Chuan, The Martial Side. For a free catalog of other action books and videos, call Paladin Press 1-303-443-7250.
Got his wrist here, he's shaking it. Right?
Oh, jeez.
Thanks. I can hold his very stiff arm, and it'll hurt, of course, when I strike him. Peyton can hold his arm strong, so it's not going to hurt him too much here. I can hit it, and it's going to hurt if I hit it any harder with a stiff arm. Now I'll just use the dead arm, and Peyton can tell you the difference. I'll hit it in the same place with less pressure than I used before, just with what's called a dead arm or a loose arm. All right?
Much more penetration.